Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome in or welcome back. My name is Amanda, and today we have 3 piles with unique messages from Spirit regarding your immediate future and what you need to know. If you're ready to get into it, you can find the timestamp for your reading in the description box or the pinned comments. However, if you'd like me to introduce you to the piles with close-ups, let me do that right now. For pile number 1, or group number 1, we have Clear the Old to Start Anew with the number 10 and the air element with the Caribbean Calcite. For pile number 2, we have Reflect to Improve with water and the number 7 with the Aquamarine stone. And for pile number 3, we have Release Worry in Order to Shine with the number 1 and the sun, along with the Carnelian Agate. So use your intuition to choose the pile that is calling to you the most. And when you're ready, click on the timestamp in the description box or the pinned comment to skip to your reading, and we will see you over there. Hello, Group 1. Welcome to your reading. So you chose Clear the Old to Start Anew with the number 10 and the air element. There could be something in your mental space that needs to be cleared out. This could be patterns of thinking, how you speak to yourself, the thoughts that you think in the day, especially when it is tied to endings and beginnings, the things that you desire and want to chase after. I also, if we're speaking of the external world, you could need to clear out your closet or old clothes or something that is connected to an old you is what I'm getting. And I feel that this is very energetic. It's an energetic clearing more than it is getting rid of that thing. This is about physically and mentally preparing you for some kind of new beginning in your immediate future. And in your immediate future, this could start to happen in the next week, in the next month. But we are speaking to something that is going to happen relatively soon. You also chose the Caribbean Calcite stone. And let's get a couple of oracle cards to start your reading. We'll get into the tarot, and then we'll end with some oracle cards as well. I have to admit, Group 1, I spent the last hour and a half recording 2 different readings for you, and the energy just wasn't right. So this is going to be a 3rd time that I give this a try. And both of your readings were relationship oriented regarding friendships and love relationships. So there's something that could be from your past that is in your present that needs to be cleared out for future. Whether that is an ex you need to stop speaking to, or a friendship that is no longer in alignment with you, there is something, and look at this. I just cannot get away from it, and not that I want to get away from it, but what happened in both of those readings is they got really lengthy, and I typically like to keep these around 20 to 30 minutes, and they got into the 45 to 50 minute mark, and I just felt that they were quite verbose, and my language that I was using, it didn't feel clear to me. So I took some time, did some breathing, and I'm back, and now it seems that Spirit continues to want me to speak about a relationship in your life. Now, because this is soulmates, I feel like within the next 41 days, you could be meeting somebody that is going to have a significant impact on your life. Now, we could talk about romantic relationships, but soulmates can also be platonic as well. I've had a number of platonic soulmate relationships in my life, and they're very near and dear to my heart, and they have contributed to my growth and have been positive forces of change in my life. So I feel like this is coming in for you, and in order for you to be really prepared and ready for this, that there could be some energetic clearing that needs to happen in order for you to open yourself up to this, because with the lock and key here, I feel like this other person might have the key to something, and you have to be willing and open enough to receive. So if you are in an energy where you're still hanging on to things, maybe you have, you're protecting your heart, you're protecting yourself, your energy, then I'm going to bring in some of the messages from the previous readings, and the advice was to love yourself and clear out the negative energies from previous relationships. This could be opinions that people placed on you that wasn't really helpful or supportive. This could be how people treated you that you are still carrying with you and believing, which I don't feel is contributing to your confidence, contributing to your self-worth. In fact, I think that it's doing a bit of a deficit there. So I feel like there's something to be looked at there that needs to be cleared in order for you to really be able to embrace a new soul connection in your life up and coming in the immediate future. Now, I would like to get one more card from this deck. One more, please, Spirit, for Group 1. One more, please. Energy or topic of the reading for Group 1, please. What is in their immediate future? Yeah, so definitely has something to do with the mind and clearing the mind. We have the number 44. So again, this is a number of protection and stability. There's lots of 4s here. We've got 3 4s here. So definitely there's something in your foundation that needs to be solidified, cleared. Do I want to put these up here? Yeah, I think that works. Okay. So let's take a peek at your official tarot reading here for Group 1. What is in their immediate future? Let's take a peek. Let's get your energy first. Energy of Group 1, please. Current energy. Ooh, okay. So we have the 5 of Cups in reverse. I think you're preparing for this new beginning because you have been disappointed, hurt, sad, upset about previous relationships in your past, and you don't want to repeat these same mistakes or cycles that you may have experienced. You don't want the same person. You want to experience something new. So it's about processing that. And if you are resisting going through that motion, that process, looking at the emotions, what's interesting, I just noticed that this looks like blood here on the bottom. So I feel like this you could have had multiple experiences in relationships that weren't necessarily fulfilling or happy, and they ended. So I'm just going to pose this question: have you processed and looked at that? What happened, how it happened, why it happened, the responsibility of each person in that relationship, and then kind of accepting what is, what was. And look at that. Spirit is not letting me get away from this message here. 2 of Cups, clarifying the 5 of Cups in the reverse position. So I definitely feel like, or pardon me, I'm not doing clarifiers yet with this deck. We'll do clarifiers with another deck in a sec here, but definitely a love relationship here that is, and I feel like it's also an obstacle, but it's also your desire as well. You have had challenges with relationships in your past, and you desire to have that harmonious connection again. And I feel like you are currently single. So I think this is really about identifying or looking at how you love yourself, how you treat yourself. And again, I'm going to repeat some of the messages in the previous readings because this is really wild. That all of these everything for Group 1 seems to be about relationship and clearing something from the past in order to open yourself up to something new here. So you desire, but you also this is also feeling like a challenge for you because you're not maybe seeing or feeling like this truly exists. So again, it's coming back to how you love yourself, how you treat yourself, what you think about yourself. You know, when you move through life, especially when you make a mistake or when you succeed, what are those things that go through your mind? Do you downplay your successes? Do you feel a sense of unworthiness when good things come your way? Do you enjoy spending time with yourself and taking care of yourself and treating yourself well? There's a very receptive kind of divine feminine energy that's coming in that may be required at this time as you prepare for a new beginning here. And that could be the clearing out that is required, is this old way of showing up in relationships. So we're going to get one more. I'm just going to take this one. Queen of Pentacles. It's knowing your worth. Group 1. It's knowing what you're willing to settle for, what you're willing to sacrifice, the abundance that you want to feel in relationships. And not to say that if you identify with it, or if you decide this is what I want, this is what I need, that you're going to find perfection in another person. But again, it's coming back to what it is you're willing to sacrifice. What are your must-haves, your need-to-haves, your wants, and trying to get as close to that target as possible when you're out and about and meeting people, especially when it comes to a romantic relationship that you're committing to for a period of time. So it's about knowing your worth, knowing how you want to be treated, what love looks like to you, how that looks like, whether it's in action or in service or in gifts, and how you show up to love people as well, not just how you want to be loved. But really having confidence in yourself and knowing what you bring to the table, knowing your worth, knowing that you have value to offer, and knowing that you care for the people in your life. And I'm going to turn this over because it came out as well. The 7 of Wands in the reverse. So it's about dropping the defenses, but also keeping a strong, firm, healthy boundaries in place. And that looks like not having your walls so up and firm that you don't allow anyone in, and it has to be this way or else. It is about, again, knowing where you can flex and knowing where you can't. And knowing where you can't is kind of based on what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel secure, what makes you feel loved. Those things can't really be compromised, because if we do, then we start to pick away at what we value and who we are. And then that kind of creates the holes in the fabric, is what I'm hearing. And then, you know, the holes get bigger, and it can be hard to keep ourselves together because we've compromised too much of what we need in order to feel secure, safe, comforted. So it's about really not having your guard up so much that you're not allowing anybody in, and still having a layer of protection, so you're not just letting everybody in and come into my life and kind of walk all over me. But this is about, yes, I will explore this with you until such time that maybe it doesn't work anymore, or, you know, we'll see how we get along. We see how we deal with challenges and changes and stress and conflict, and knowing what you're willing to tolerate is what I'm hearing as well. So if you don't want to tolerate a certain behavior or a certain lifestyle, then it's about knowing that and sticking to that. And then knowing, again, where to compromise, where you're willing to compromise, where you can compromise. And again, we're not looking for perfection here, but it's a bit of a dynamic thing that's going to shift and change based on the person that you meet, and based on your own personal growth and their growth and how you grow as individuals. So we have the Sun in the reverse position on the bottom of the deck, which can speak to a level of not feeling very joyful, maybe at this time, as you're working through some of these energies and dealing with some of the disappointments, the frustrations, the emotional fallout of previous relationships not working out, and having to really think about all of this stuff. This is not easy stuff, and this stuff might not be, you might not be able to figure it out all in one day or in the immediate future, but I feel like this is preparation for what's coming. And to kind of do your best to boost your own confidence, to boost your own sense of love within yourself, to be your own best friend, your own guide, your own soulmate to a degree, so that you're not looking to an external person to do that for you, because that usually never works. When we're relying on the external for that validation, for the love, for the respect, we have to do that for ourselves and know what that looks like, know what that feels like, in order for us to really see that when others do that for us, and to be able to appreciate it and not rely on that. But there's definitely a process of letting go of something for sure, as this Five of Cups is about that process and that grief and the letting go of those emotions that are attached to some kind of disappointment and emotional loss from your past. So I feel like that is strongly connected to this clear out the old to start anew. And both of these cards are ruled by Mercury, the planet Mercury. And Mars. And Mars is a very fiery planet. It is the planet of war. So this is emotional and spiritual battle in a sense, where you are fighting for good cause, and also fighting to get through this emotional loss, and maybe not, maybe there's a resistance to letting go. You don't want to let go because there is some kind of fear attached to that letting go and what that means, possibly about you or possibly about the other person, the situation. So let's clarify this Five of Cups spirit. Five of Cups in reverse. Clarify what this Five of Cups in reverse. So you got two. You have the Queen of Wands and the Moon. So I definitely feel like this has something to do, I feel like secrets were revealed in some of these relationships, or things were hidden from you that you didn't necessarily see until later. And this is quite hurtful and disappointing to you, and maybe could be possibly why it ended, because of these kind of darker places, these darker moments, and you kind of uncovering some kind of secret or discovering something about this person that really didn't align with what you wanted in a relationship. I really feel like you may have been the one to end these relationships, because we have the Queen of Wands here, who is very determined and fiery in their actions, in who they are. There is a confidence here, but there's also a little bit of mystery wrapped up in this as well. And these relationships could have made you doubt yourself a little bit. And maybe there's a bit of discomfort here as well, as you kind of tried to figure out the truth of the situation. And this is also challenging. You know, the Moon also challenges our conditioned responses to things, as well as our intuitive response to things, and how we show up based on what we know and what we've learned. And then the intuition comes along and says, wait, no, that's not what we want to do. That's not how we feel. That's not where we want to go. And so there's a bit of a tension there between those two, because they're not seeing eye to eye. So there's a bit of discomfort as we try to consolidate those two things and figure out which one's right, maybe even challenging the way we once did things and doubting those ways of doing, which could have really challenged the relationship. So let's see, Two of Cups. Clarify the Two of Cups, please. And this might be some advice for you here with the Queen of Wands and the Moon to dive into those deeper emotional depths of the situation and realize or discover or explore those conditioned responses and why those responses, why you responded the way they did, or pardon me, the way you did, and how that ties into your story from your past, and how you kind of see you showing up in the future. And then also there's a sense of identity here as well. There's an attachment to I'm getting a feeling of strong sense of my identity is connected to the situation, to the success or this failure, or this the way things work out. So I almost wonder if that's a bit of a message for somebody there to explore how you identify yourself within the relationship structure. Are you maintaining your own sense of integrity, your own sense of pride, your own sense of who you are, your values and your passions, or are those being sacrificed? Kind of what we talked about with the Queen of Pentacles. And again, what is your intuition and your kind of your soul's desire? How are they showing up in those relationships, or are they showing up in those relationships? We have the Page of Wands in reverse here. And this Page of Wands can be a little flighty. They don't like to stay in one place for too long, but they are very passionate about experimenting and exploring and trying new things. However, there is it is in reverse, so I wonder if there's a resistance to that on your end, where there is a lack of, maybe there's a fear or a lack of doing things differently or stepping out of your comfort zone or what you're used to. There's even a feeling of maybe choosing younger partners that may not align with, I mean, they might be exciting, but they might be a little non-committal. So if commitment is something that you're looking for, then maybe, I mean, age doesn't necessarily have to do with anything, but if maturity is what I'm getting here, is your previous relationships, is there a lack of maturity there in the other person? And maybe that's something, the reason why things aren't really working is because you require a little bit more maturity in your relationships in order to find that balance and harmony. So Queen of Pentacles, my goodness. Oh, wow. Okay. So we have the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. Funny, 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 funny. So again, I really feel like this is kind of what you desire, or maybe what's required, or what's coming in your immediate future. And I feel like these are your blockages, or kind of how you're showing up in this particular dynamic, or maybe where you're at. If anything, it's clarifying. It's clarifying the above cards here. And we have the Queen of Pentacles again, except this time it's in the reverse position. So I do feel like Spirit is being very strong in the sense that you have to bring yourself back to yourself, the things that you're willing to commit to, the things that you need in your life to feel safe, secure, comfort, and what you're willing to work towards, what you're willing to work or commit to, and then your own sense of worth here. There could potentially be a lack of self-worth, especially if you've experienced not so great relationships with people that may not have been as mature and may not really understand how to deal with certain challenges in relationships, which could have really thrown you off, because I do feel like you are the queen in this particular dynamic, but there has been some people that might not have been the best match for you, which has really got you questioning your own sense of worth, your own sense of what brings you comfort and joy and safety within the relationship. So it's about discovering or exploring that a little bit, possibly in depth, so that you can really understand who you are a little bit more without the connection to the relationship. So 7 of Wands in reverse, please, Spirit. 7 of Wands in the reverse position. Yeah. So what's really funny is that this guy came out as the Queen of Pentacles jumped out, and I didn't take him because he wasn't as strong, but he clearly wanted to come out. And then we have another 7 here. And 7 can be, I feel like you've been deceived in the past, and that also kind of came out in the moon with the secrets and the things that were hidden that you couldn't see, but maybe you felt. And having the confidence that you kind of knew the truth, but maybe this other person wasn't being as clear as they needed to be, or as honest as they needed to be. Again, coming back to a bit of that immature energy. And here it's coming out again in the 7 of Swords. This is somebody trying to get away with something, somebody not being as truthful or honest. They're kind of sneaking off in the dark, or, you know, it's not necessarily the dark here, but they're sneaking away, trying to get away with something. And this could be about implementing a new strategy for you as well. As we talked about with the 7 of Wands in reverse, this is implementing something, maybe something different, where instead of you being on the defense and not letting anybody in because people have betrayed your trust in the past, this is about knowing the types of people that are likely to betray your trust. And so it's identifying, again, what your tolerances are, and what those healthy boundaries look like. What are those kind of red flags that maybe you overlooked previously that you can start implementing or using to identify that in people? Not to say that that is going to be the end-all be-all, but something to consider there. So let's get a couple of cards to end your reading here. I'm going to continue with this particular card, but I'm also going to get another card, a couple cards from another deck. Overcoming obstacles. You can overcome anything. So up to this point, you have overcome a lot with a lot of people. You've had emotional ups and downs. You have overcome these obstacles. And I love that this is a sword, and in the sword, there's a little heart. So again, Spirit confirming this reading as a relationship read. And there's a new path to take. There's another obstacle to overcome. And I feel like the obstacle in your immediate future is to work on self, to boost your confidence, to work on healing from previous relationships, from even grieving and coming to terms with the endings of those previous relationships and those connections, and maybe trying to understand a little bit about what went on and how to avoid the pitfalls or downfalls so there's not repeating patterns or cycles of behavior. You can only do so much, obviously, but it's doing your best and really coming back to loving self. And I think this self-worth card, knowing your worth, knowing your value, knowing those things that make you feel really firm, grounded, and rooted in who you are, is going to be really important. And again, we've got the sword, so there's that clarity of mind of cutting through and knowing exactly who you are and kind of what it is you need to clear. Again, this obstacle needs to be cleared in order for the path to continue. So coming back to the very beginning of clearing the old to start anew, I feel like this is an old boulder that needs to be kind of pushed away and walked over, climbed on, moved around, disintegrated in some way. Let's get 2. Take that one and one more, please, Spirit. Thank you. Okay, so we have, look at that, digest your past. And that's kind of when the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis, it almost kind of, it turns into mush, and then it kind of almost digests itself in a way. It's a really strange process of transformation. First of all, I really feel like your immediate future has something to do with your own personal transformation, and that you're moving from this caterpillar state into a butterfly state, but it's about you having to go through that messy, mucky, mushy process and really kind of processing, digesting what's happened in the past so that you can put the past to bed and learn from the past, but not bring the past with you. And in your previous readings, there was also a sense of the Hermit came out in one of your previous reads. And the Hermit is all about the Four of Swords also came out in the second read. So there was a strong message there of kind of going inward, going into this womb-like state where you've not necessarily disconnected from the world, but you're spending time with self. You're spending time maybe journaling, or mindfulness practices come to mind as well, where you're really thinking about processing things on your own, in your own time, in your own space, and not having conversations with people and getting that outside external feedback, but more connecting with your inner self, connecting with your heart space, connecting with all of those deep feelings that have brought you to this point, and trying to really transmute that into something beautiful. And we are one. Quaking Aspen. This one is about rooting. I mean, above the surface, the quaking aspens look like individual trees, but their root system is completely connected and intertwined so that they can collaboratively look for water, nutrients, and share among each other to grow big and strong. And so I wonder, this gives me the feeling of really connecting in with your own root system, within your own, I want to say root chakra is coming to mind, as well as the heart space. Maybe all of the chakras in between the root and the heart need to have some clearing, because I feel with the Seven of Wands too, there could be some blockages there, which is preventing you from really opening up energetically. And there's a bravery to face that, and I feel like you're up for this challenge just based on some of the cards that are coming out and your ultimate deep desires here. So again, I just want to read a couple of questions from the book because it's exactly what we talked about in the reading. So this is just clarity and confirmation. So one of the questions here is, how do you balance your individuality with your place in your family, your community, your relationships? Does your drive to be your unique self leave you more alone than you wish? Or have you lost your sense of self, of personal space within the collective of your relationships, family, workspace, friendships, community? So that's really interesting that those questions came up because we talked about losing yourself a little bit or sacrificing too much of yourself in relationships, and you end up losing that integrity of yours, that beauty of yours, that those things that make you you. And so it's about really coming to terms with that, identifying if that's the case, and then working to figure out how to prevent that in the future, because you deserve to be your authentic, beautiful self within relationships, and the people in those relationships with you should be loving enough and supportive enough to bring out the best in you and to not try to suppress it or change it, but really embrace it and love you for it. So my dear group number one, I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. third time's a charm. So I really hope that these messages resonated and landed with you. With gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Group 2. Welcome to your reading. You chose Reflect to Improve with the number 7 and the water with the Aquamarine. So you could be a water sign. You could be required to reflect on something in this moment, to spend time going inward. I'm getting a hermit energy with this. So there is kind of a self-assessment, or maybe not even assessment of self, but assessment of a certain situation to help you improve a specific situation in your life. The 7 is also a number of purpose and focus. It's also about a quest for knowledge to some degree. So let us get some oracle cards to open your reading. Spirit, we're speaking to Group 2. What is in their immediate future, please? An immediate future could be anywhere between 1 week to 1 month. Let's see. It's been a really interesting evening for readings. So we'll see how this one goes. Pile 1, or Group 1, I did 3 times, and the messages in all 3 were the same. Really strange. So we'll see what comes out in this one. Oh, deep knowing. See, this is a quest for information, for knowledge, connecting to your inner self, connecting in with something that you know deep down that needs to come to the surface. Possibly within the next 43 days, you will come to some kind of realization about something. You might start having more intuitive hits or psychic abilities, or connecting with your intuition a little more strongly. Owls could also be a significant animal for you. The next full moon is what I'm hearing. I don't know when that is. Is it the 25th of May? You could do some full moon work. If it's not in May, I think it's May 25th, but if it's not on the 25th, then I think Spirit's talking about the next full moon after that. You could also have a deep knowing about something, and in order for you to really connect in with that, there's a moment where you have to reflect on it to assess something. And what's really interesting, I just noticed, when we break down this number, or we add these 2 numbers up, 4 and 3 is 7. So again, we've got clarity and confirmation that we are on the right track here. Like I said, the readings tonight have been really bizarre in the best way. So let's get one more message, Spirit. Let's get one more message. Yeah, they're a little magical tonight. So welcome to the magic. Let's see what comes up. Spirit, one more card for Group 2, please. What is in their immediate future? Spirit, immediate future for Group 2, please. Okay. Fork in the road. So again, we have another owl on this llama-looking animal. So you could be dealing with a fork in the road at this moment and not knowing which way to go. 2 of Swords energy here. And there could be multiple directions that you feel would be great options to go in. And so you're stuck at this impasse of indecision, of not knowing which way to go. And I just noticed that this is literally a fork. So that gives me a question of like, what do we have for dinner? I don't know. What do you want for dinner? What do you want for dinner? I don't know. When it comes to, I don't know, that's just the partnership thing with me, is that we're always indecisive about what we want to have for dinner. We don't know what we feel like. We don't know what we want to make. And so it becomes this whole back and forth of, what do you want to have for dinner? I don't know. What do you want to have for dinner? Anyways, that could resonate with somebody. But yeah, I think that there's I think that you're at this fork in the road, but I really do feel like there's a deep knowing within you about which way to go. All right, Spirit, let's get some tarot cards now. Let's get your energy to start, see where you're at in all of this. Spirit, one card for Group 2 Collective. Group 2. One card, please. Thank you. Is it what I think it is? Yes, it is. It's the Hermit. I told you I felt it. I told you this is going to be a wild and magical reading, Group 2. I'm here for it. All right, so I feel like you may be avoiding this introspection. You're maybe avoiding this quest to look deeper. And I'm not really sure why. Let's get one more. We're going to get another card to just look at another 2 cards for the situation, obstacle, challenge. Let's take a peek, see what's going on. For Group 2, King of Pentacles in reverse. So you could be feeling a little bit of a loss about something. You might not be feeling as abundant. You know, all of your hard work, it doesn't feel like it's paying off in some way. It's not seeing or showing itself in the 3-dimensional world. And you want to feel abundant in your life. And so it's now a matter of assessing, why is it this way? And how do I rectify that? And this doesn't necessarily mean financial wealth. You know, I want to be a billionaire. So how do I get there? I'm not seeing the $1 billion in my bank account. It could be monetary for some of you, wanting to improve their financial situation. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. But the feeling that I'm getting is that the efforts and the time and energy that you've put into something hasn't paid off in the way that you have expected. And you almost don't know what the solution is. I almost feel like you think that there's a solution in the external world, but I think that the solution lies on the internal world, which is maybe why the Hermit is in reverse. Because you're looking for answers out there. You're looking for things to do, things to fix, things to change in the situation, in the challenge, in other people. But I think it lies within. And I say that because of this deep knowing and this reflection energy and this Hermit energy. They're all kind of tied in and pointing to looking within yourself for the answers. Now, this could also be health as well. Anything in the 3-dimensional world. Maybe you don't like where you live, or you maybe have had some kind of loss in terms of job. You no longer have that job that you once had. So now there is a space in not knowing what's next and where to go. So I think your immediate future is going to be a bit of a spiritual quest here. And then we have the 9 of Wands in the reverse position. So there's a bit of a relief of maybe burden, responsibilities, tasks. And again, that kind of goes hand in hand a little bit with the King of Pentacles, because with the loss of job means that you no longer have the responsibilities you once did. This could also equate to burnout as well. So that could be something in the physical where you're experiencing the physical effects of burnout and you kind of don't know how to rectify it, which way to go, what to do, how do I fix it, how do I relieve this, how do I improve? All right, so let's get one more for what's ahead, how to move through this. Ooh, the Hanged Man in reverse. So I do think that there's some enlightenment that's happening here, whether you know it or not. I really feel like if you were to do some introspection, to take a step back, and rather than doing, just being for a moment and really kind of connecting in with your subconscious or your inner knowledge, your inner light, I think you're going to find the answers, which is going to enlighten your path. This can speak to delays in movement, delays in seeing progress, because this person is hanging upside down. They're waiting for enlightenment to come to them, to see things from a different perspective. And I think that's part of this too, is that in order for you to really see the path forward, you might be required to see things from a different point of view, from a different perspective. And yeah, doing some of that reflection is going to help, that reflective work. And you might have some worries about what other people think as well. Bottom of the deck, did I not say Two of Swords here? And it's in the reverse position. And the moon is shown up a couple of times here. It's shown up here. It's the Nine of Wands is also governed by the moon partially as well. And then this is also the moon in Libra. So it's about finding that balance and being at this impasse, being at this stuck, indecisive, almost a stalemate energy. So again, I feel like rather than take a logical approach, this is all about the energetic and the spiritual approach to the problem or the challenge or the obstacle that you're facing, the situation. And what's interesting is that group number 1, it was a very different reading, but it did also connect in with spiritual and energetic work in order to align with what it was they desired. So I feel like if you need to find answers to something and you're stuck at a bit of an impasse, how can you do things a little bit differently? How can you turn something on its head rather than, again, using your analytical mind to process and analyze the situation? What would it look like to do something from a spiritual perspective, or an emotional perspective, or an intuitive perspective, kind of looking at all of the sides here in order to gain some enlightenment and to find a little bit more clarity. So I actually just realized that I used the wrong tarot deck to start your reading. Maybe that was, again, I'm just going with this. This is a very bizarre evening to do readings, but I'm just going to go with it. This was the deck that I used for the main reading in the previous one. And so, and then these were the Rider-Waite-Smith was the clarifying cards. So we're going to do it the opposite. And isn't that cool that we're talking about doing things differently, and here we are in real time doing things differently. So I feel like that is your inspiration, if anything, to take away today. So let's look at the Hermit in reverse. What's the Hermit in reverse? What's he got to say? Ooh, the Nine of Cups in the reverse position. So yeah, this is kind of feeling disappointment, frustration, lack of fulfillment in what you were doing. Interesting that these are both nines. And again, because there's this lack of fulfillment here, of not feeling, again, I kind of get that with the King of Pentacles in reverse, but this is like, I don't have and I want. Whereas this is, I don't feel fulfilled. So there's a lack of fulfillment in multiple aspects coming out here. But there's also a resistance to this Hermit energy of taking a step back, of going within, of connecting with your intuition. I feel like there's some answers there. And I feel like you're going to discover what is going to fulfill you in this stepping back energy, in this reflective energy. You could be feeling a little overwhelmed as well, and not really knowing how to break free from that feeling. Nine of Cups is also Piscean energy, so very creative, romantic, very sensitive, and it's also Jupiter energy, so it's this expansiveness, of the heart, of the feelings, of the emotions, and not feeling as fulfilled or balanced as we wish we were. So maybe that's something to look at when you step back and reflect on things, is what's bringing me joy? What's bringing me fulfillment? And how can I get more of that? Or how can I align myself with that? Maybe you are chasing the wrong things. And again, we've got that perspective shift happening. So 4 of Pentacles. There's a hanging on to something here. So again, we've got the King of Pentacles, which is very abundant energy, very grounded, earthly energy. He's surrounded by all of his belongings and finances, and he's in good health, and everything is just as good as it can get. But in the reverse, there's a bit of a loss there, or not feeling as abundant as they could be. And then there's this reserved energy, almost a scarcity energy, like I'm hanging on to whatever I've got, because again, I'm almost getting that loss of, you've gone from the King of Pentacles to the 4 of Pentacles, so you're kind of hanging on to what you have, because I don't know if that's out of necessity, out of fear, because of this loss. I feel like there's a threat to your stability, your security, your comfort in this. And so you're hanging on for dear life because you're not sure when it will improve, when things will get better, and you don't really have the answers to knowing what it is. But what's interesting is I almost get the feeling of being knocked off your throne and kind of starting from a base level here, a baseline, because we're back at the foundations again, or we're back to basics is what I'm hearing. And so maybe there's something within that there's almost like to see that from a different perspective. I'm hearing it's so instead of seeing it as I only have this much, to kind of look at what it is you need, and is what you have enough to give you what you need. All right, we've got the Page of Pentacles and the Upright, and this is a really lovely energy to pair with the 9 of Wands in reverse, because this is a brand new, I feel like a brand new focus is coming in your immediate future because of whatever the situation is, and because of this introspection and time out that you're taking to really reflect on this and evaluate your needs, evaluate how you spend your time and energy and money, how you spend and save, how you chase after the things that you desire, and if those things that you desire are actually the things that are going to fulfill you. And so this page is kind of bringing focus and bringing strategy back into the mix, and a sense of curiosity as well, a sense of adventure, and being open to trying new things, and being I want to say new at something again, but it's not necessarily new. I feel like there's experience behind you. This is starting from, I don't want to say square one either. There's a starting fresh energy here with a new way of seeing things, a new way of doing things, a new way of spending your time, energy that's a little more efficient and more effective in the long term, because I feel like whatever you were doing wasn't necessarily working in the way that you wanted to. It might have brought a lot of stuff in the physical 3-dimensional world, but maybe it just wasn't sitting right, or it wasn't exactly what you envisioned. So now it's kind of reframing that, or recalibrating that in some way. And it's working smarter, not harder as well. But I really feel like you're a hard working person, and that hard work, dedication, and commitment will be part of what gets you through this. But I think you have to also connect with your intuitive side, your emotional side, your sensitive side, which I feel will bring a little more fulfillment into the mix in the long term. And we have the Ten of Cups in reverse, clarifying the Hanged Man. So this could have to do with your relationships, your family connections, and maybe your place in that. But I really feel like turning this upside down or upright, not upside down because he's upside down right now. He looks upright, but he's not. So it's a bit of an illusion. Once this Hanged Man turns upright, then this Ten of Cups will turn upright with it, I feel. So because I feel like the Ten of Cups is what you desire, and it's much better than the Nine of Cups, because rather than it being individual fulfillment, this is fulfillment among family, among relationships in your life, among friendships. And so this is like an elevated, this is more connected, more community-based fulfillment. So community could have something to do with this, family could have something to do with this, building your relationships or your connection to certain relationships, strengthening is also something I'm getting with that. And in order for you to do that, there needs to be a bit of a shift. And again, I'm going back to that spiritual shift, that intuitive shift of what you need to change within self in order to make decisions and not be at this fork in the road. So there's a personal shift that I think is happening in your immediate future, and it's going to require you to take a step back, to do a bit of personal work, and to really, I think, the identifying what it is you need and the things that you are really working towards. Are they really filling you up? Are they fulfilling you? Or is there something more that you would like? And not necessarily more things, more stuff, more money, although that could be the case. I think that this has something to do with your emotional connections in your life, and maybe only working with the basics with money. So with that, it's like, rather than working 70-hour weeks, I find a career or a job or a position that allows me to do 40-hour weeks, and then I can get to spend it with my family, because I feel like there's a missing element here, that while you were good at something, it wasn't necessarily fulfilling you. And while that something might have offered you lovely things in the three-dimensional world, it wasn't filling you up in the way that you had hoped or imagined. So now it's about shifting something within yourself, maybe your direction, maybe what you value, maybe I don't know what it is, but it definitely feels like something very spiritual and intuitive. I think there's an intuitive knowing about what that is for you. That you're really trying to elevate or connect more with your personal relationships, but you're having this battle of logic and the way you've done things in the past to doing something new and maybe your intuition. So the two aren't really jiving at the moment, and that's okay. It's about exploring kind of why that conflict is coming in and what you can do within your circumstances, within your control, and within yourself, that you can maybe look at, develop, strengthen to see something from a different point of view. And you might have some worries about what other people think as well. So we're going to get one card from this deck, and then two cards from another deck, and then we will end your reading. Spirit, could we get one card for group 2, please? One card for group 2. One card for group 2, please. I should have taken that card that kind of half flipped out. They're not answering my call. That was an interesting message. They're not answering my call. So there's somebody in your life that you've had a falling out with that is not answering your call. Intuitively, I feel you know the answer. Oh, interesting. So infinite abundance. Abundance is pouring into your life. Now, I immediately went to the King of Pentacles for that, because this is the King of Pentacles energy of abundance, of having everything you need and more. So much more that it's almost overflowing, and you can help others, and you can share it with the people in your life. But I feel like the abundance with the King of Pentacles that you might have been looking for and hasn't quite turned out the way you thought, I think the abundance lies in something that you're not seeing, something that lies in the relationships, something that lies in the experiences that you have with others, something that lies within your health. And that can be considered, all of that can be considered wealth as well. So it could be, I want to say, exchanging one type of abundance for another, or maybe looking at the different kinds of abundances in your life that brings you the most joy and pleasure and long-term fulfillment. So, ooh, we got another owl. So one more. California Poppy with, I'll show you in a sec. These are just such beautiful cards. Okay, just one spirit, one more. Thank you. Oh my goodness, okay. So you have resurrection, and I honestly feel like this is a resurrection that you are going through. You're going to be doing something completely different on the other side of this, and people might even question, like, is that you? Like, that's not something we expect from you. Like, this is different. You're different. You're doing things differently. Maybe you're more present. Maybe you're more connected with your emotions or your intuition, or you've done some healing. There's something definitely bubbling up here where you are resurrecting from something, from maybe an experience or just an old way of doing. Look at this one, nurture connections. And that's what we talked about with the 10 of Cups. So maybe you have some kind of disconnection with friends or family, and now it's time to come back into, I mean, there might be good reasons, so take this as it resonates. But like we had talked about before with the long working hours and you not being able to connect in, if that is not bringing you the kind of fulfillment that you are actually desiring in your soul, then it's time to make some changes there. And that requires a change of lifestyle, a change of habits, a change of thinking about things, a shift in what you're appreciating and what you value. So things I feel are really shifting for you here, which is why this resurrection is I feel really important, because you are moving from a place that is no longer serving you, and you're moving into a place that will serve you better. And this too is not also about losing yourself in these connections. This is about showing up as your authentic self within connections as well. And not necessarily being a lone wolf anymore. Maybe this chapter of your life, or this phase up and coming, is about having the support from others around you, or connecting with those around you and building those relationships in that personal network. And what's interesting about this, in the description of this card, it's about darkness, and about allowing yourself to slip into and stepping away from kind of the day-to-day light, the day-to-day distractions, the things that you engage with that are far from the stillness, are far from fulfilling. So that could be social media as an example, where you're kind of just endlessly scrolling and not really getting any value from that experience, and maybe not spending the time to do mindfulness practices or journaling, or however you need to step into this reflective energy. But I really feel like that owl is kind of a signal about kind of meeting that nighttime or that quiet self, and kind of what happens in that stepping away, in that stepping back, in that unplugging. And are your thoughts different? Are your movements different? Is there any discomfort? Do you find yourself wanting to do things or having certain thoughts or needs that come up? It also could be getting more sleep, as simple as that might sound, but really taking care of your body in that way so that you can really show up for the things in your life that really fulfill you. So that's what I have for you, group number 2. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. And with gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and I'll see you in your next reading. Hello, group 3. Welcome to your reading. So you chose Release Worry in Order to Shine with the Sun element and the number 1. You could be a fire sign, or you could be really worried about things at this time, feeling a little anxious. And no matter what kind of weather we experience here on Earth, the sun is always there. Maybe not at night, but I mean, even still, even at night, the sun is still there on the other side of the world. So it's almost as if Spirit wants you to be and do regardless of your circumstances. Obviously, you need to do what you need to do based on what those circumstances are. But find moments where you can release worry and anxiety for a time. I feel like a new beginning is close at hand. And so this releasing of anxiety and surrendering to kind of where you're at, not necessarily giving up, but offering yourself some respite from possibly some worrying times, will allow yourself to move through the energy a little better. Now, your immediate future, and this has been a really strange night for readings. I did group 1's reading 3 times, and every single reading, the reading was almost the exact same. It was really bizarre. And group 2, we had a little fun in group 2 here as well. So I think this is also going to be a relatively magical reading for you. And as the candle is getting lower and lower, I'm almost hearing time is running out. So I don't know if that means that your situation is going to come to an end soon, so we don't need to worry about what we need to do and how we need to fix it, because there is going to be an end in sight. A candle cannot burn forever. So let's get a couple of opening cards for immediate future for group 3. An immediate future can be anywhere from 1 week to 1 month. Group number 3, what is their immediate future? Both groups had about 40, between 40 and, yeah, it was about 40-ish days. So we will see what cards come out for you. Oh my goodness. This came out in group 2. So deep knowing. So see, 43 days could be timing on this thing, especially since we're talking about immediate future. There's a deep knowing that you have about something, someone, or there's a deep knowing that you need to, I feel like you need to connect with your intuition a little bit more. Owls might be significant, as well as full moons. And I feel like in group 2, this was the full moon of June rather than May. Although the May full moon could have some significance for you as well. And look at those colors; they're just beautifully tied together there. So there is either a deep knowing, or you are going to be connecting in with your deeper knowing in the next 38 to 43 days. So immediate future, and we have an owl again. So to be fair, this is very justice energy, bringing things back into balance and being fair with yourself, being fair with the people around you, and in this situation that you are kind of moving through. I almost get karmic cycles as well with this to be fair card, as I'm thinking of the justice and bringing things back into balance, of understanding that the universe always, I always like to think that the universe corrects things when they are out of balance. So things can't stay a certain way forever. So then we kind of see things shift and change. And hopefully when we're having bad times or bad luck, that we see good luck on the other side of that to kind of counteract the bad stuff that we're experiencing. So I'm kind of hoping that is the feeling there that I'm feeling. So let's get into your tarot now and see what is in the immediate future. But first we'll look at your energy, and then we'll look at the immediate future for you. Okay, your energy for group 3. Group 3's energy. Ooh, okay. So immediate future, or your energy. You're feeling possibly a little bit heartbroken at this time, and maybe there's a bit of a contraction in the heart space where you are feeling some pain, experiencing some heartbreak, some heartache, whether that is something that has happened or something that you're experiencing within a certain dynamic. So not feeling so great, I'm getting a sense of like feeling at war within yourself. And this is Saturn in Libra energy. So we're getting Libra energy kind of in both cards already. Again, coming back into balance. But the Saturn energy is really kind of stirring things up. And there's a sense of restructuring of some kind of connection. So this could be in a long-term connection with somebody in your life that you are feeling very hurtful about. This could be in part due to a breakup or things just not feeling hurt within the relationships can happen as well. So let's see. Let's get 2 cards to just take a peek at the situation and challenge, and then we'll look at your immediate future with the last card. 2 more cards. Okay, so I think that one's coming out too. Okay, so group 2 also got the 2 of Swords. And I think this has to do with, there's some inner child healing that possibly needs to happen here. So we have the 6 of Cups with the 2 of Swords in reverse. And you're really, there's some inner child healing that possibly needs to happen, and or this has something to do with somebody from your past. And the candle went out. So again, like I said before, candles can't burn forever, and because I feel I don't know if that has any significance to this, but there feels like there's an ending here, and I don't know, the 2 of Swords is like, because it's in reverse, it's this energy of stalemate, of not knowing what to do and where to go and what decision to make and not choosing. So this could be in the 2 of Swords, or pardon me, in the upright position, because I feel like she's put this blindfold on herself. It's like she's trying to see things from a different perspective by blindfolding herself and connecting in with her deeper knowing. So that could be why the 2 of Swords is in reverse, is because there's an avoidance to doing that, of what you know in your heart is the right thing to do. But it's a really difficult situation. So even though you know you need to take action or to remove yourself from a situation or not be with somebody, while it's giving you heartache and pain, I feel like it's still a really big decision for you to make, and you can't make it at this time. Now I feel in the meantime there's a sense of you working on your inner child healing, regarding something that may have happened in your past, whether it's from a previous relationship or from your childhood, that could be the reason for, I don't want to say the reason for you being in this relationship, but there is something in there that has gravitated you towards this person for some reason. And so it's about looking at that, and also looking at the things that bring you joy, that used to bring you joy as a child, and looking at those things to try to reinstate those. And maybe I feel like rather than making choices at this time and making the difficult choices, is to relieve some of this heartache and heartbreak with those childlike joys, or connecting with children, connecting with a child, and really sharing a tender moment with them. So there's a playfulness energy here as well. There's an exchange of happiness and joy. So it's about counteracting this not so great situation with something that brings you joy and peace and happiness. We have some more Libra energy here with the Two of Swords in reverse, but this is also the moon in Libra, so there could be some secrets, or you're not seeing something, you are keeping a secret, you are keeping things under wraps while you kind of work through this energy. Let's take a look at the immediate future for group number 3. I feel your immediate future is really about working through this, really connecting in with your intuition, if anything, self-care practices, and having some fun with friends. We've got the Three of Cups here. So I think friendships are going to be a real lifesaver for you and will allow you to really feel supported, nurtured, and happy at this time. There's a certain, there could be a group of people that you could possibly connect in with or network with. And I love how your energy is starting with the Three of Swords, but we're kind of ending it with the Three of Cups here. And we have the Six of Wands in the reverse position, which is, you know, you're not feeling very, you're not in a place like you feel you can celebrate or have a good time. But I almost think that's necessary, especially because the Six of Cups came out, the Three of Cups came out, and the Six of Wands came out, but it's in the reverse position. So it's like, no, this is a time to get serious and to deal with this. Yes, but the Two of Swords is in the reverse position. So it's almost like, I feel like this might be a karmic relationship of some kind that you're kind of tied to, and something needs to, it's really tough. It's really tough when you're in those situations because you kind of feel what needs to happen, but you can't make that decision for some reason. And there's this blockage almost. So we'll get clarifiers in a sec here. So in the meantime, how can you kind of focus on self, focus on your joy, focus on your pleasure, and pleasure with friends, having good times, building memories, which is also the Six of Cups as well, is remembering those things that were good times and where you had fun, and how can you almost recreate that with your adult friends at this time. And yes, while it's might not be a time to celebrate, you still need to find moments of unwinding, of letting go a little bit, and of feeling happy and excited and feeling the pleasure of life, because life was not meant to be lived in this difficulty, in this challenge. So while yes, it might be a serious situation that you're moving through and a difficult situation, I do feel like there needs to also be moments to balance that out with some happiness and joy. So let's get some clarifiers now. Advice or clarifiers for group 3, please, for the Three of Swords and the upright. Three of Swords and the upright, please. Clarify the Three of Swords. Clarify the Three of Swords. Yeah, it's really sapped your energy here, this Three of Swords paired with the Sun in the reverse position. It's definitely sapped your energy. It's making you feel not really confident in yourself. It's drained your joy. So I understand why you might not feel the need or the want to celebrate, to have fun, to really enjoy life at this time, because it's taken everything you've got to hold this energy, to hold this heartbreak, and to constantly sit in this indecision. But I really feel like that's been done to death up to this point, possibly, for some. So if that's how you're feeling and it's not working, thinking your way out of this isn't going to get you out of this. I think making the decision at the right time is going to be the thing, and timing might also have something to do with this. So in the meantime, let's focus on trying to find a little bit of joy, bring a little joy back in. And we have the Emperor clarifying the Six of Cups. So this almost really makes me feel like the foundations of your childhood, the foundations of your life. There could be some situation in your past that has informed this current present moment, or something that you've lost along the way that needs to be picked back up. You could also have something, some connection with the father figure as well. Maybe father wound that needs to be healed. This could definitely be Aries. But let's see this Two of Swords in reverse. But this is about also your sovereignty outside of this relationship. This relationship is not hopefully not your whole identity. So it's about reclaiming that sovereignty, reclaiming that authority. Two of Swords. Clarify the Two of Swords, please. And so I really feel like your intuition is going to be of a great friend to you, is what I'm hearing. I'm going to take that one. Queen of Cups. Yeah, this is a really overwhelming moment in your life. And you're feeling quite unable to stabilize your emotions. You're unable to foresee a happy future and really look at the things that you want in your life, because I feel like whatever this is all consuming, and it might even be blocking some of your intuition as well, which is all the more reason to step away from it at this time. And that doesn't mean to make big decisions, although if that's what you're called to do, then make those decisions. But yeah, who is your support network? Let's look at that. Three of Cups. They will offer you some healing unexpectedly. Star in reverse. This is healing energy. And it's in reverse, so I don't think that you're going to expect it from this friendship group or this friendship that you have. But I really feel like it's a light in the dark that you can really lean on. And because I feel like there's a lack of faith, there's a lack of hope here, naturally, with this being as heavy as it feels. But I really think that this friendship, this group of friends, this support group is really going to instill or help you bring that back. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to talk about it with them, but to just get out of it for a minute, to talk about life, to share stories, and just not focus on this at the moment. So let's get a final card we're going to get an oracle card from this deck and then 2 cards from another deck. Spirit, could we please have final message from this deck, please? For group 3, immediate future. Immediate future for pile 3, group 3. Ooh, I'm all of a sudden getting really hot. I don't know if I'm shuffling too hard or what. It was really hot in this room, but I'm just getting a flood of... Ooh, it's hot. Okay. If one doesn't come out, I will pull one. There we go. Ooh, okay. Protected by angels. If that's something you believe in, then definitely you are being protected at this time. You are being surrounded by that protective energy. And is there also a way for you to protect yourself from any kind of damaging or hurtful or painful conversations or people as much as possible within this situation or dynamic? Let's see. and maybe find solace in those friendships. And one more. Okay, where are we here? Oh my goodness. Group 2 got that one as well. This is wild. This is wild. Let's see. Oh, they didn't get... Oh, crack open. Okay. So we have the moon phases here as well. We've got another moon here. And we've got another owl. So lots of internal wisdom, intuitive wisdom coming through here. A lot of, you know, moon energy. If you want to work with the moon, that's something to look into. What to, you know, you can use the moon cycles to let go of things and to focus on what it is you want to grow in your life and expand on in your life. And the rose, which immediately is about, to me, makes me feel like a love relationship. So I do feel like this has something to do with a love relationship that has really cracked you open, maybe in the worst ways, but maybe also in the best ways that you might not see at this time. And I feel like you're also moving through this moment of resurrection where you are discovering a certain part of yourself in this kind of hurtful, darker moment in your life where you're learning some tough lessons, but they are lessons that you will carry with you to or through this resurrection, and you're kind of being rebirthed or reborn here as somebody new. And I'm also getting every rose has its thorn. So just to read a sentence from the guidebook for the rose one, Rose knows that to experience love in full, you need to be a strong vessel while at the same time cracking open. The rose reminds you to embrace dualities and say both and instead of either or. So that could be something to maybe journal about, to consider, to meditate on, to think about, is what is the both and in the situation within yourself, and what is the duality that you can embrace and really come to appreciate. And here's some questions that you can maybe journal about as well from the book. Often, we're much better at loving others than we are at loving ourselves. The reason for this, according to the rose, is that we're too close to ourselves, so we are constantly examining our own minutiae. How can we break that habit? By looking at the big picture. What kind of friend are you? How do you care for, nurture, or protect the people that you love? How do you care for, nurture, or protect yourself? What are you exceptionally good at? And if your soul had a color, what would it be? When we can't see ourselves whole, we pick and pull at our tiny imperfections, turning them into gaping wounds and fatal flaws. Zoom back and see yourself whole against the sky. It's really beautiful. So I think there's a lot of messages in there that I don't want to repeat, so take that as it resonates. And with the California Poppy, this could also be, again, taking a step back and going in internally. Within self, there's a very hermit energy of maybe finding moments of solitude for yourself. Maybe during the evening might be the best time when the world sleeps. Also, getting enough sleep is important during this time as well. Again, caring and nurturing for self. Just taking a step back to really bring in that balance, to really identify how you can bring in joy into your life during this difficult time, rather than looking at the situation. Because if you're in a mode of indecision, then there's no thinking more that will help you make the decision. So it's almost as if something in the external needs to change in order for you to be like, yep, this is the moment to decide, and then you just do it. So it's almost like until that happens, how can you prepare for that? How can you nurture yourself? How can you really embrace this resurrection that you're going through and connect with your intuition, your deep knowing, finding balance again with friendships, maybe even developing new friendships. Even though it might feel a little contradictory, you need to find those moments of joy and celebration, and also celebrating yourself for going through such a difficult moment in your life and still being able to persevere, even though it's not something that maybe we wished for ourselves or want for ourselves. But you do have the strength, And going back to the questions of the roses, I really feel like there might be some nuggets in there that you can really hang on to. So, my dear group number 3, this is what I have for you. I hope you found some clarity and guidance today. With gratitude, I'm sending you all my love, and we'll see you in your next reading.